Have you ever felt a creeping emptiness, a gnawing sense that nothing truly matters? A void so vast it seems to swallow every ounce of purpose, every spark of meaning? This existential weight isn't unique to modern times. In fact, it began to shape an entire generation during one of history's most tumultuous intellectual shifts: the rise of Darwinism and the decline of traditional faith. When Darwin's ideas about evolution emerged, they didn't just challenge scientific paradigms, they shook the very foundations of belief systems that had guided humanity for centuries. If life wasn't divinely orchestrated, but rather the product of random natural processes, what did that mean for morality, purpose, or our place in the universe? These questions open the door to nihilism, a philosophy that denies inherent meaning in life. Nihilism wasn't merely a rejection of religion, it was a chasm, a gaping void that devoured the values that once united societies. Alongside secularism and utilitarianism, it unraveled the moral fabric that had shaped human behavior for generations. Faith, once the cornerstone of human existence, began to wane, leaving many adrift. For centuries, religion had served as humanity's moral compass, providing purpose and a shared understanding of what it meant to live a good life. But as its influence receded, thinkers of the era sounded warnings about the cost of such a shift. Among these voices was Fyodor Dostoevsky, an author who, though underappreciated in his time, crafted works that delve into the deepest recesses of human nature. His masterpiece, Crime and Punishment, serves as both a cautionary tale and a profound exploration of the human spirit. In this video, we'll journey through Dostoevsky's philosophical masterpiece to uncover its timeless lessons. Through the life of its protagonist, Rodion Raskolnikov, we'll explore the dangers of nihilism, the seductive allure of egoism, and the redemptive power of love and faith. These themes resonate now more than ever, offering insights into the challenges of our own era. The rise of nihilism and the decline of faith. Before we dive into Raskolnikov's story, let's set the stage. The 19th century was a period of profound change. Scientific discoveries and philosophical revolutions challenged long-held beliefs about humanity's place in the cosmos. Thinkers like Darwin and Nietzsche questioned the existence of divine order, while utilitarianism, championed by figures like Jeremy Bentham, sought to replace moral absolutes with cold calculations of societal benefit. For many, this intellectual upheaval was liberating. It freed humanity from the constraints of dogma and superstition. But for others, it left a void, a sense of purposelessness that no scientific fact or philosophical argument could fill. Dostoevsky was deeply concerned about this void. He saw in nihilism not just a rejection of God, but a rejection of everything that made life meaningful: love, morality, and the inherent dignity of the human soul. In Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky dramatizes this struggle through the life of Raskolnikov, a young man who embodies the philosophical conflicts of his time. Raskolnikov's journey is a microcosm of society's broader descent into nihilism and its potential path to redemption. Raskolnikov, a portrait of alienation. Raskolnikov is a law student in St. Petersburg, struggling not only with poverty but also with a profound sense of isolation. From the very beginning, he is disconnected from his family, from his friends, and even from himself. His inner world is dominated by conflicting philosophies, particularly nihilism and utilitarianism. These ideas give him a sense of intellectual superiority, but they also deepen his alienation, cutting him off from the warmth of human connection. Raskolnikov's story can be divided into three distinct phases: intellectual confusion, moral collapse, and eventual redemption. Each phase reveals a different facet of his character and serves as a lens through which Dostoevsky examines the consequences of nihilistic thinking. Phase 1. Intellectual confusion. At the start of the novel, Raskolnikov is consumed by grand ideas. He sees himself as an extraordinary individual, someone destined to reshape society. He writes an article arguing that humanity can be divided into two groups: ordinary people, who follow the rules, and extraordinary individuals, who have the right to break those rules in the pursuit of a higher purpose. Though he doesn't use the term, this philosophy aligns closely with Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch or Superman. But Raskolnikov's ideas are not purely theoretical. They become the justification for a terrible act: the murder of a pawnbroker named Alyona Ivanovna. Raskolnikov convinces himself that her death will serve a greater good. She is a parasite, he argues, exploiting the poor and hoarding wealth that could be used to uplift others. This cold, utilitarian logic leads him to commit the crime, but almost immediately the act shatters him. His carefully constructed rationale crumbles under the weight of his guilt and fear, plunging him into a state of moral and psychological chaos. Phase 2, moral collapse. After the murder, Raskolnikov's life spirals out of control. He becomes consumed by paranoia, convinced that others suspect his guilt. He alienates himself further, rejecting the support of his family and his one true friend, Razumikin. Even as those around him try to help, Raskolnikov pushes them away, retreating deeper into his own torment. This isolation is compounded by his ego. Raskolnikov sees himself as superior to others, yet he is haunted by the fear that he is, in fact, ordinary. This internal conflict drives much of his madness. He wants to prove that he is extraordinary, that he is capable of transcending morality, but his conscience rebels against him at every turn. Dostoevsky uses this dissent to critique the idea that humans can find meaning in nihilism or utilitarianism. These philosophies, he suggests, offer only the illusion of freedom. In reality, they lead to despair, alienation, and destruction. The role of poverty. Poverty is another central theme in Crime and Punishment 1 that shapes the actions of nearly every character. Raskolnikov's family lives in desperate circumstances. His sister Dunya is willing to marry a man she doesn't love to secure financial stability for her family. His close companion, Sonia, turns to prostitution to support her destitute relatives. Raskolnikov's own poverty fuels his resentment and his sense of injustice. He convinces himself that the murder of Alyona Ivana is not just a philosophical experiment but a necessary act of survival. Yet Dostoevsky makes it clear that poverty, while devastating, is not an excuse for moral compromise. Instead, it is a test of character, a challenge that can either break a person or inspire acts of profound compassion and resilience. Phase 3, redemption. Raskolnikov's path to redemption begins with his confession. Encouraged by Sonia, he admits his crime and accepts his punishment, exile to a Siberian prison. At first, his suffering only deepens, but over time he begins to find meaning in his pain. Through Sonia's unwavering love and his own growing faith, Raskolnikov discovers a path back to humanity. This transformation is a powerful reminder of Dostoevsky's central message. No matter how far we stray, redemption is always possible. It requires humility, self-reflection, and a willingness to confront our own flaws. But it is within reach for anyone who seeks it. The modern relevance of Dostoevsky's vision. So why does Crime and Punishment matter today? Because the questions it grapples with about morality, meaning the human condition, are as urgent now as they were in Dostoevsky's time. In an age of rapid technological advancement and growing secularism, we too face the risk of losing sight of what makes life meaningful. Dostoevsky's work reminds us that meaning isn't something we can calculate or commodify. It is something we must seek in our relationships, our values, and our willingness to confront the darkest parts of ourselves. In the end, Crime and Punishment is more than a story about one man's crime. It is a profound meditation on the human spirit, its capacity for both destruction and redemption. Through Raskolnikov's journey, Dostoevsky offers us a timeless lesson. True freedom comes not from rejecting morality, but from embracing it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this exploration meaningful, don't forget to subscribe. Let's continue to seek meaning together.